Good morning, everybody. This is Diggs. It's another beautiful day out here in the Pacific Northwest, and we're going to spend a little bit of time talking about the cursing system on the global side. It is different than the cursing system on the Korean side, and I also have some things I want to see change. So let's go ahead and dig in. On the surface, if you didn't know, it does look like the cursing system is better on the global side. There's no cap, so to say, in the sense that when you are leveling your cursed gear, you're never going to encounter a level -10. For example, it's always going to be plus or -1, right? So it doesn't seem like we necessarily have the drawbacks that the Korean version of the game has. However, this is a huge drawback because of one specific reason, and that is because we have access to the Asterite shop. Now, with the Asterite shop, we are able to get a boatload of weapon enhancement stones, and we are able to buy Asterite directly. So what this means is that the end game of Ni no Kuni right now is extremely favored towards attack, because as you curse your weapon higher, the attack value that your weapon gains grows significantly. So there really is very little reason to invest in defense, HP, critical, any of these defensive capabilities, because in the end game future of Ni no Kuni, you're only going to be focused on attack. It's going to be how fast you can kill your opponent, and particularly when you are going into PvP situations, it's going to come down to who has their weapons cursed more. And this to me is problematic because this is not how it is on the Korean side. It is, but there is more heavy of an emphasis on defensive capabilities. So it's interesting to me, we have a lot of players, particularly in my last passive video, talking about how important damage reduction is, how much important defense is for PvP. But in reality, months from now, years from now, that is going to have significantly diminishing returns as opposed to attack. So how can we solve this problem? What's the solution? Well, the solution to this problem is, I think, quite simple, and that's to actually add in the accessory squares and add in the armor squares to the Asterite shop. I think adding these in would enable players to not only increase their offensive capability, but increase their defensive capability as well. And I think this would help balance the playing field when it does come to upper tier content or future content of the game. Right now, as a player, why would I ever invest in defense or HP potentially if I am, say, in the top 100, when really it just comes down to how cursed my weapon is, right? Because I'm not going to be able to get my armor or my accessory to that cursing level because I don't have access to nearly as many squares for cursing. So this is the type of thing that I've been thinking about and looking at as we are in the end game now, because it does seem like end game on global is far different than it is on Korean, and it seems like it's going in a less fun direction. I would much rather have a whale that was just generically stronger, that could deal a little bit more damage, tank a lot more hits, than just have a mega whale that can one-shot everybody and mow through them because they have 3 plus 99 weapons, right? So I think there is balancing issues here, and we have seen the implementation of global equipment for the first time. So we've seen global equipment that is, coming out, like the puzzles that are being released, potentially pets that are being released, right? We're seeing all of these things being released on the global side. So I would like to see a little bit more emphasis on global balancing, because while a lot of people may not be at this point yet where you're cursing your gear and you're weighing what to curse and you're weighing what to grow, it does become really clear, particularly when you get into top 100 Lava Valley. While skill does play a factor, a lot of the times it just comes down to who has cursed their weapon more, especially when you get into top 30. It's just a matter of how much people have cursed their weapons and how fast you can kill your opponent. And the defense and the HP values, while semi-important in some situations, really the majority of the time don't even matter. They matter on your way up. If you're someone who's, you know, maybe within top 1,000 and you're pushing your way up, defense and HP may be more important. But in the long run, it does come down to both your skill, of course, depending on the match, if it's an even match, but really what your weapon is cursed at. So I just wanted to have this discussion. I think there is a whole lot to the cursing system that they need to implement. I would love to see guaranteed curses, for example. I would love to see guaranteed curses for armor, but not weapons. I think that would be a really good idea. Or split the items that guarantee the cursing to happen. I think that would be incredible on both sides. And I do think they need to balance out the terite cost of cursing as well. 100 terite cost per curse can get pretty expensive, especially if you're getting 20,000 asterite, so that's 40 curses. So you would need 4,000 terite minimum per week. And while you could farm that reasonably if you are a high level CP player, especially depending on with pets coming out, I think there needs to be just a little bit more incentive to go from like terite to asterite too. So I think we need just that little bit more terite drop in order for the end game to kind of balance its way out and to feel good. But right now I would say the end game doesn't feel great, particularly in PvP. If you are going like up against a mega whale and you just get obliterated, it is thankfully at least balanced so you don't lose a ton of score. But I would like to see these defensive utilities easily accessible just as much as the weapon utilities. So thank you so much for watching, everybody. I'm curious what your opinions are. Please put them in the description down below, and we will talk to you guys next time.